What's up, Giga fam? I have got the long requested controller and console settings guide ready for you guys today. If there's one thing I'm qualified to talk about, it's this. I've been playing console COD for almost 20 years. I was 10th Prestige on the original Modern Warfare back in the mid 2000s. On the OG Black Ops 1 and 2, I had over a 4 KD. Over the years in multiplayer COD, I dropped thousands, untold numbers of nukes and MGBs. Transitioned to BR. Blackout had over a 5 KD. Warzone 1 over a 6 KD. Set world record win streaks on that game. Warzone 2 led the world in nukes. Hit iridescent every single season. This was all on console with crossplay on, playing against PC players. Fast forward to Warzone 3, I'm still dropping 40 bombs and solo quads, more world record win streaks. I've been very successful on console Call of Duty / Warzone, and I definitely got my settings optimized. I will tell you, I recently switched to PC, like as in within the last 2 weeks, okay, after decades on console COD, and this is because I'm going all in on streaming and content. The difference is astounding. It's a huge advantage, okay? But you can still be successful on console. You just need to make sure you have the right settings, and that's what I'm here to help you guys do today. I'm going to be very efficient with you guys' time. We're going to get through this. I'll give you the information I think is necessary when you need to understand why a setting is a certain way. If you're just curious why, don't be afraid to ask a comment down in the comment section. I'll get to all of them if I can. I have double checked. I'm on my PlayStation 5. I double checked. Xbox has the same settings. So whether you're on PlayStation, whether you're on Xbox, you should be able to follow these. Even if you are on PC, the controller settings will still be relevant to you. I don't feel qualified to talk about PC graphics or audio settings, so I'm not going to do that. I don't speak on things I don't understand fully. So, without further ado, let's get into the most important tab, which is controller aiming, okay? I will say, I was a pub stomper. I was not a competitive multiplayer guy. I always played high sense because that's what felt natural and fun to me. No more, okay? A couple things have changed. You guys do not need to be playing on high sense unless you're just goofing around, whatever. But if that's the case, why are you even watching this video? You need to play on a moderate sense, just like every CDL pro. Aim assist is so overtuned, and we're going to talk about the dynamic aim response curve type, which basically allows you to have your cake and eat it too, get some of the benefits of high sense without actually having to run high sense. So, for that when I say sense, I mean sensitivity. For that reason, you need to be somewhere in the probably 5 to 7 range. 6.6 is sort of the gold standard. ADS sensitivity multiplier, don't set this any lower than 0.9. People, when I see people, and I used to do a lot of coaching clients, they would have like 15s, and then they would set this to like 0.5. I will tell you, their centering was chalked. Their crosshair placement was horrible. Running high sense like that and then jacking down the ADS sense multiplier, it really is just like a replacement for really bad centering. Okay, so your crosshair placement is just as, if not more important, when you aren't ADS'd. Okay, you need to be precise when you're moving around the map, placing your crosshair in the proper spots. So if you have to lower this down so far, it's because when you're running around not ADS'd, your sense is way too high. So no lower than 0.9. If you need to go lower than 0.9, then you probably need to lower your sensitivity. We don't need to mess around with these other sensitivity multipliers. Just 0.9 is fine. If you really want to get into min-maxing, I would recommend high sense, maybe be slightly higher. Just to enable you to do some flicks, but that's going to be on you to individualize. Aim response curve type, okay. There's going to be outliers, okay, but for 90+% of players, dynamic is the way to go. I do think there are reasons why it's objectively stronger. Just to quickly explain it, basically the way it changes over time as you move the right stick is that it's a fast acceleration at the beginning, then it slows down a great deal throughout the mid portion of the curve, and then it speeds up again at the end. So you got to think about this, okay? This is going to enable you to flick. This is going to enable you to turn, right? But it's also going to make sure that you don't overcorrect in that important middle range of the curve where you're flicking over a target, kind of swiping over to them, and then now you're on target and want to start, shooting them. Furthermore, that synergizes with this insane overtuned aim assist that we've gotten, over the last 5 or so years of Call of Duty. Aim assist is just getting out of control. But you need to take advantage of it, right? Other players are going to, your enemies are going to, so you better. So for that reason, dynamic aim assist. If for some reason you haven't been playing on it, there may be an adjustment period, but I think it's worth it. If you're so advanced that for you specifically linear works better, then again, why are you even watching this video, right? But even most CDL pros, 6.6.9 dynamic, gold standard. So unless you have a very special snowflake reason for running something otherwise, this is what you should be running. Obviously, we're going to turn aim assist on. Just put it on default. There's some debate over Black Ops versus default. They're not that different. Default is fine. Make sure all this motion sensor nonsense is off, okay? Alright, we're going to tab over to controller, another important tab. You guys need to either have a controller with paddles or learn to play claw, okay? If you want to be optimal, you need to sort that out, okay? Because you need to be able to keep your right thumb on the right stick so that you can center and fight while utilizing advanced movement, slide cancels, bunny hops, drop shots, and still aiming with the right stick, okay? That's what paddles and claw enable you to do. I prefer paddles. Most people nowadays that are getting into it prefer paddles, so invest in a controller with paddles if you're serious about the game. Turn off all this nonsense, vibration, trigger effect, it all needs to be off. Okay, dead zones, super important, guys. So I like to just set my left stick min to 0. If for some reason you have severe stick drift, maybe you need to move this up a little bit. It really doesn't matter that much. But if you're like accidentally falling off of ledges and stuff because of a stick drift, then you might need to raise this a little bit, okay? But it should be near 0. Left stick max, okay? It seems like more people are discovering this, and it used to be kind of a secret setting among like pros and people that were like real in tune with that whole scene. You want your left stick max to be somewhere in the 60 to 70 range, okay? Some crazy TikTokers and stuff were setting it to like 30. That is not optimal. And most people had it like high, okay? The reason why we want to set it a little bit lower is it enables us to get into our movement quicker, and it enables us to proc aim assist more efficiently, more reliably, okay? Barely nudging on that left stick, and we're going to be getting the full advantage of aim assist. So that is why you set it somewhere in the 60 to 70 range. If you go too low with it, you're going to be accidentally sprinting and jerking. You're not going to have fine control over your movement in situations where you might need it, right? Such as I'm on a high ground ledge, I'm peeking, right, to kill someone who's like directly under me. I don't want to fall off the ledge, so I have to kind of slowly nudge forward as he comes closer to the building, right, so I can maintain like a head glitch. So we want to have that fine control. 60 to 70 gives you the best balance for those things. Right stick min, I am kind of an outlier here. I usually like to set this to 0, okay, unless my controller has like bad stick drift. My general recommendation, set it to the lowest number possible where you do not have stick drift. If you start to get to a point where you have to set it to like 6 or 7 and you're still having stick drift, you probably need a new controller, okay? At least if you want to be like optimal and you're willing to spend the money. But anywhere from like 0 to 7, but where you're not having stick drift, okay? Some people, especially like CDL competitive type guys, they would even say, hey, you should still have a little bit of a minimum on your right stick, even if you don't have stick drift, you know, of like 2 or 3, just to prevent overcorrections. Okay, but you know, I'm really confident in my recoil control, in my aim. I like to have that perfect, snappy control, but I've also been doing it for decades. I do a lot of practice with no aim assist, so and I've also played a lot of games on mouse and keyboard. So for me, a right stick min of 0 feels really natural. That is not my general recommendation. General recommendation, lowest possible while not having stick drift. Hope that makes sense. If anybody needs clarification, let me know in the comments section. Right stick max, 99 or 100. I set these to 0 just to have them absolutely responsive. If you're having issues of accidentally triggering them, you might have some issues with your controller. You might need to raise them a little bit so that there's no accidental discharges. We don't want those in the fields of Warzone. Alright, let's scoot over to the gameplay tab. The vast majority of pro players and basically every good player is running auto tac sprint. Couple outliers that we'll put on auto tac, or excuse me, auto sprint, and then they have a little bit more control over when they go into tac sprints. I would say as a general recommendation though, auto tac sprint. I turn off slide maintain sprint. It seems to help with dead slides. Okay? Turn off auto move forward. We want single tap run, okay guys? This is going to get us into our tac sprint the quickest and most efficiently, and for you advanced players, it will make your snaking way more efficient. Way more efficient. It's actually quite broken how this integrates with auto tac sprint and snaking, okay? I run grounded mantle because I cannot stand when I'm trying to finesse and I can't get into a window or what have you. This setting will get me killed sometimes when if I'm not really mindful of my surroundings and I slide cancel and end up going over a lip or something. So I actually think this is kind of user preference. I think there's arguments to be made either way. So, you know, you're going to have to try both. It seems to me that most players prefer it on. I think generally the pros outweigh the cons. But I could see it kind of going either way. I mean, it's an important setting, and you just need to understand the pros and cons of the one that you go for. If you turn it off, you are going to get stuck on windows all the time, but mid gunfight, you probably aren't going to accidentally mantle stuff. So if you're very in your face, you're not doing a ton of repositioning, you're very aggressive, definitely turn it off. Even if you play with a fast pace of play though, and you drop high kills, which, I mean, I've dropped solo quad 40s, I still like it on because it's more important to me to be able to reposition reliably, effectively. Wish they'd clean up the animation so we don't have to worry about this, but that's a decision you guys are going to have to make, okay? Slide and dive behavior, okay? Hybrid is optimal. It takes time to get used to, okay? Dolphin dives, they're a bit situational. They're kind of a weak movement tech, at least in fights, but where they're really good for is map traversal. There's a lot of hop-ups where you have to basically dolphin dive, pull shoot, and then it's going to enable you to make certain traversals that you couldn't otherwise make. And there is going to be situations where maybe right at the last second a dolphin dive to behind cover is going to be the most efficient way for you to, you know, get out of dodge. But obviously we're in a slide cancel COD, so if you never dolphin dive and hybrid gets you killed, I could see an argument for just running slide only to keep things simple for yourself. The reason why you don't want to run anything but either slide only or hybrid is because there will be a delay in your slide cancel. Okay? The slide will not go until you let go of the button. Okay, that's bad. It might sound like it's like a millisecond or whatever, but that adds up when you're constantly moving and slide canceling, okay? So slide only or hybrid, I would encourage most of you to put yourself through a couple days of, you know, accidental dolphin dives and whatnot until you can get used to hybrid. It's not that hard to adjust to. I have fully adjusted. You know, there might be a little bit of growing pains, but I would encourage you guys to get used to it. If you can't, so be it. Slide only then. You guys, I'll just scroll through these and you can kind of copy it. Most of these settings aren't really that impactful. So my rule of thumb for tac stance activation, if I'm running a tac stance build, I'll turn this on. Otherwise, I like it off because what it enables you to do is like an old school Warzone 1 slide cancel where you slide ADS jump and it doesn't, you do a slide cancel but it brings you into an ADS so that you basically minimize the amount of times you have to hip fire, especially when you factor in the idea that while you're sliding your hip fire cone can get wider. So it's actually kind of a broken tech to use in a lot of situations. I really like it, especially on like SMGs. Slide cancel and then into a pre-aim around a corner. We're already ADS'd. I really like that tech. That's why I turn this off unless I'm messing around with a tac stance build, in which case obviously you have to turn it on. Super important setting here, guys. Super important. Our interact reload behavior, you have to set it to prioritize interact, okay? Nothing else comes close. The reason for this is it's a BR. We're hot dropping. You need to be able to loot efficiently, pick up your stuff. You don't want to have to sit there and wait to pick something up, okay? But on the flip side, reloading is very important, and what this enables us to do is when I'm in the middle of a vomit loot pile, I know if I hold the reload interact button, okay, I will reload my firearm, okay? So it gives me the best of both worlds. Fast, efficient looting, very important. Knowing I will reload and not accidentally pick stuff up or interact with objects when I need to. So get used to prioritize interact. Armor plate behavior, I think they finally set this to the default setting, okay? You'd be shocked how many people were not running apply all for their armor plates. You have to. It like doubles the speed that you will plate, okay? If for some reason you're in a fight and you only need to put one plate in or only want to put one plate in before you rechow, just get used to canceling the animation, okay? There's a multitude of ways to cancel the animation. So, apply all if you're in a pinch and you need to rechow without being fully plated, which a lot of the times I would say, hey, finesse a little longer, get that last plate in. But everything's situational, so, you know, apply all will make you plate faster, basically heal faster, okay? And be ready for gunfights faster. And if you really need to take a chow without fully plating, just cancel the animation, okay? Apply all is optimal. I'll just kind of scroll through these. You can kind of copy this. So there's an interesting thing on manual fire behavior, okay? If you set it to hold, it will chalk a lot of semi-auto guns, okay? And it will not enable you to hit like the trigger cap on them, even when you're spamming, okay? However, some guns that you'll have in your loadout, it's sort of broken for, where you can just hold down the trigger, it will hit the trigger cap for you, okay? And obviously it's much easier to track while you can just hold the trigger down than having to... Most people can't track with their right thumb and spam the trigger, right? That's a difficult thing to do. So I think depending on what's meta and what the gun is, there may be times where I'll recommend, hey, for this, I would set it to hold, but as a general recommendation, you just want it on press, okay? Akimbo behavior, set this to paired. Alright guys, let's head over to the graphics settings, and again, this will apply to both PlayStation and Xbox platforms. If you want PC graphics, you're welcome to swing by my live stream. I got tons of tech nerds in my community. I do not feel like I have the expertise to speak on PC graphics, so we are going to focus on console, PlayStation and Xbox. I have double checked Xbox, they're the same settings, so I'm on a PlayStation 5 right now, but you will be able to follow along on either platform. Okay? Graphics, turn off on-demand texture streaming, okay? There has been niche situations where I think on old gen PlayStations, turning this off was causing crashing, okay? That will be situational. If you're having crashes, swing by my live stream, we could probably help you out, but as a general recommendation, turn this off. It will help reduce packet loss, all those bad things, okay? I'm a minimalist, guys, and I think most console gamers are, okay? I don't care about the game looking pretty. I want it to perform well. So keep that in mind when I'm going through these settings. I turn all this crap off. Blur, film grain, depth of field, turn it all off, okay? There's going to be some tech nerds that say, hey, fidelity cast only causes a 3.7% drop in frames. We're on console, okay? Yeah, they say we get 120 FPS. We're lucky if we're getting 90. I'm telling you that right now. I can't afford to lose 3 or 4 frames. I just can't. It's going to lose me gunfights. If you really want your game to look sharp and pretty, fine, turn this on, but don't set it any higher than 50, okay? Guys, check with your manufacturer settings, check with the console settings, check with your TV monitor settings. You need to be on 120 refresh rate. If you are still on last gen console, you are really at a disadvantage, I will tell you. It is worth the investment to at least hop on a PlayStation 5 or a Series X/S, okay? We want to be on 120 hertz. Make sure your monitor or TV is compatible. There's so many out there in configurations. If you have individual specialized questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to try to help you navigate them. Or swing by the live stream. Like I said, I got tons of tech nerds, tons of mods that could try to help you with the issue you're having. But try to make sure you get this going, okay? You're still going to be at a disadvantage compared to PC, but my goodness, it is a huge step in the right direction from being on 60 FPS, okay? Field of view, you should be on 120 on this engine, okay? Ever since Modern Warfare 2, they've added a lot of visual obfuscation, different things to the game, screen shake. Pulling our perspective back, it removes us from a lot of that, okay? And it might make targets at a distance a little bit hard to see, but I would just recommend, hey, you're going to have to suck it up. Because the pros of being on high FOV on these games, it's worth it. I've also seen some FPS testing, at least on PC, which theoretically might translate over to console, where 120 FOV actually gets better FPS than some of those mid-ranges of FOV, and you're certainly not going to run 80, okay? That'd be really bad. That's a good way to get your camera snapped, okay? So, 120 FOV. Turn off camera movement. Again, we're minimalists. We don't want any of this crap. You know, I would love to run inverted flashbang, but I'm kind of traumatized from all the crashing back in Warzone 2. When I have this on and the screen blacks out, I panic and think I crashed, like, to a T. So, just, I have it off, but if that doesn't bother you, I think on probably would be better, you know, just a little bit cleaner. Alright guys, let's tab over to audio, okay? I recommend home theater if you're on just completely default, no special audio, okay? It's still terrible, but it's the best we got. I do highly recommend if you are on console with no special audio, run the perk flex in your perk packages, okay? That will give you the best chance of getting audio cues. It's unfortunate that they have us in this situation, but it is what it is. That's the best audio you can get on all default stuff, okay? For the game volume, I like to set it to 90. I think there's some like audio crunching issues potentially if you set it to 100. So I like 90. And then turn off the music. Set the dialogue as low where you can sort of get an important audio, you know, like cue from the announcer, right? But it's not going to cover important stuff like footsteps and whatnot. Effects, most important thing, set it to 100. Set all this music to 0. Alright guys, let's get into the interface settings and color customization. This is really important since we don't have NVIDIA filters and all the fancy stuff, okay? It's going to make your game look less abysmal, okay? More clear, and give you a fighting chance against PC players. We're going to run filter 2 because it looks the best to 99% of people. We're going to apply it to both the world and our interface, and we are going to set those to 100. Zero impact on frames, makes the game look better. Don't know why it's not just default, but here you go. Alright, you beautiful people. You know, this wasn't something I was super excited to make. I don't like to give out the sauce, but you know what? Y'all are my Giga fam. I am transitioning to a point in my life where I want to build a community. I want to kick you guys some of my knowledge. So I think it's great. You guys can use it and abuse it, have a more level playing field with your PC competitors, okay? Which I have now joined the dark side. So just stay out of my lobbies, okay? If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section or swing by my live stream on Twitch. Link will be in the description of the video. If you're new around here, definitely consider subbing. And I love y'all. Enjoy.